Have you ever wondered what the construction of one of the most monumental engineering feats in history can teach us about leadership and innovation in the workplace today? Well, I'm here to tell you about it. Rise and shine, leaders. This is Glen, Guyton, keynote speaker and workplace trainer. It is time for our executive coffee break. I've got my beverage in hand. I hope you have yours too. They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose your workplace culture and your beverage. Leadership matters, so you might as well get good at it. Well, today, I want to talk about my experience at the Hoover Dam. Now, maybe you all have already been to the Hoover Dam. Maybe you haven't. If you haven't been, well, it's about damn time that you go. And I learned some valuable leadership lessons during my time at the Hoover Dam, and I want to share 5 of them with you today. Yes, maybe I'm a little weird. Maybe I'm just getting older, but I look for leadership lessons wherever I go, and the Hoover Dam really, I don't know, stirred something up in me. If you ever have a chance to go to Vegas or Nevada, Arizona, the Hoover Dam borders both of those states, or both of those states border the Hoover Dam, so you can go. It's worth the drive. It's not too far from Las Vegas, so I would say go and really take one of the tours and learn a little bit about the history of the Hoover Dam. But I digress. I want to give you 5 things that I thought were really helpful during my time at the Hoover Dam. 5 leadership lessons I'm going to give you today, my 5 takeaways. First of all, vision and goal setting. Building the Hoover Dam was a vision of unprecedented scale, aiming to transform a desert into a powerhouse of water and electricity. Similarly, transformative leaders set bold visionary goals that challenge the status quo and inspire collective effort. It's not just about what you aim to achieve, but how that vision galvanizes your team to push beyond their limits. I mean, imagine when the Hoover Dam was built. We didn't have all of the technology that we have today, but it was a monumental feat. It took 6 companies. You had to get multiple municipalities involved. So it took a strong visionary leader to bring in all of these different components. And can you imagine the project management techniques that it took to complete the Hoover Dam? I'm going to write a little bit more about this and do a case study, because I think it's just amazing once you see the scope and the scale of the Hoover Dam and understanding that it came in under budget and ahead of schedule. That's amazing. We can't even do that with projects today. We have computers and AI and all these other things. But the Hoover Dam, excellent project manager, and also 6 companies had to come together to bring the expertise to build it. Lesson number 2, collaboration across teams. Despite the varied expertise required in its construction, the Hoover Dam project unified thousands of workers towards a common goal. In the corporate world today, fostering collaboration across diverse teams can lead to innovative solutions and breakthroughs. Encourage cross-functional teams to share knowledge and resources to solve complex problems with creativity. Now, they didn't have much racial diversity as far as the workers, but again, there were a number of different companies involved in building the Hoover Dam, and each one brought a unique skill set. Cross-functional teams. One team was good with concrete. Another team was good at building bridges. Another team was good with the water part. I mean, they had to stop an entire river, divert an entire river in order to build this dam. That is amazing. Like, water is hard to work with. Anyone in the hydroelectric industry know what a monumental feat this was. And so you had to have, there wasn't one company that could do it. And then they just had to keep pouring concrete, like just the coordination of those efforts, just getting the resources on on site, and I think they even had to build like a factory on site because they couldn't truck everything in. So just amazing, just a phenomenal time. Lesson number 3: risk management. Constructing the Hoover Dam involved navigating unforeseen challenges with a harsh environment to technological limitations. I already talked about that a little bit. Effective leaders anticipate risk and develop contingency plans. Embracing a proactive approach to risk management can safeguard your projects and ensure your team remains resilient in the face of adversity. Now, this is a little bit of revisionist history on my part. It was risky. A lot of people died building the Hoover Dam, but I think we can learn some lessons from the areas in which they maybe fell short. I mean, they had to build entire towns to feed and house people, and I'm not going to say that working conditions were good. I'm sure they weren't, especially compared to how we work today in 2024. And again, some of the immigrant workers, black workers, were given like the most dangerous job. Like, hey, here's just a stick of dynamite. Go blow this up. I'm sure OSHA wasn't heavily involved in building up the Hoover Dam, but I think we need to think about it because it was a lot more people could have died. Looking at the positive, maybe looking back, and again, this was during the Great Depression when they were building the Hoover Dam, and so people were desperate for jobs, and it was an opportunity to work. They weren't well compensated, but it was good money for the time, and especially when there weren't any other job opportunities. So risk management is something we have to pay attention to. We want to probably definitely want to treat our workers better than what the workers were treated during the Hoover Dam. But they did. They have to have the logistics to house and feed all of these workers, these thousands of workers who had to work 24 hours a day to get this project done. Lesson number 4: innovation and adaptability. This is really key. The Hoover Dam's construction required innovative engineering solutions. Today, leaders must also champion innovation, encouraging adaptability in strategies and processes to overcome challenges. Foster a culture where innovation and new ideas are celebrated and failures are viewed as stepping stones to success. People could have easily said, oh, we can't do this. But when I was growing up, I don't know if you remember Schoolhouse Rock. I don't know how old you are watching this, but Schoolhouse Rock, and they used to have that one video that says, necessity is the mother of invention. Mother necessity, where would we be? Necessity is the mother of invention, and we have to create this sense of urgency in our organization, a sense of, hey, let's not just think about, no, what's possible? What can we do? What new can we create? And again, with the Hoover Dam, they had to bring in new technology, create things on site to do this phenomenal thing. Again, back in the early 1900s, they had to create these whole systems and processes to build the dam. And like one of the things was that the concrete was, you don't really think about like how hot concrete gets when it's curing. And so they had to have water being pumped, in various places in the dam to keep the concrete from overheating, from superheating, getting too hot, so they can continue to work. You don't think about those things when you have that much concrete. Like if you're pouring a driveway at your house, it'll get a little warm, but just think how much concrete had to go into the Hoover Dam and how much heat, that thermal reaction of the concrete curing created a lot of heat. And so they had to come up with these creative solutions in order to solve problems that were on a scale that no one had ever worked with before. And so innovation is really important. And, I even think about how we went to the moon, went into the outer space, and how much creativity it took. And now, what I'm trying to figure out, this is kind of a side note. If you're from NASA or somewhere else, how come we can't go back to the moon now? Like we went to the moon in the 60s when we didn't have supercomputers. We didn't have all of the technology and things like that. How come we can't go to the moon now? Like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Sir Richard Branson, they're shooting rockets off. How come the United States can't go back to the moon? If you have the answer for that, somebody answer that in the response in the chat, Please let me know. Where's the innovation? Where's the drive? Where's the determination? We need JFK back. Lesson number 5 is commitment to safety and well-being. I talked a little bit about this. The project's success was marred by the loss of lives, highlighting the critical importance of safety and well-being. Modern leaders have a responsibility to prioritize their team's health. Wellness is a big deal now. Wasn't a big deal in the 30s. Both physical and mental. Investing in wellness programs and creating a safe, supportive work environment is essential for long-term success and employee retention. I don't know how many people walked off the job at Hoover Dam. I'm sure some people said, I quit. Take this job and shove it. I'm not working here no more. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what they did. Harsh working conditions. I don't know if you all are familiar with that book, The Jungle, Upton Sinclair, that talked about, I think it was the meatpacking industry. So working conditions used to be horrible. Now we pay a little bit more attention, a lot more attention to employee wellness, well-being, employee safety, those are paramount. And so maybe that's one of the lessons learned from the Hoover Dam, that we don't want to repeat that type of thing. But the innovation, the drive, the creativity, the project management are really critical things for any business to think about and consider. You know, what's your dam? What's your Hoover Dam? What's that big project that you can dream about, that you can tackle, that will put you ahead of others? You know, what's that mountain that you can build, or that mountain that you can climb as a leader? I think we as leaders need to have a vision of something that's big, that's something that's large. What's the legacy that you want to leave as a leader? Something to think about. Do you have that drive? Are you a leader, or are you just a manager? You just comfortable with the status quo and getting your paycheck, or or is it time for you to get outside of your comfort zone, to try something different, to innovate, to try to motivate your team? Is it about damn time for you to do something? You know, we think about the Hoover Dam and all that it took, and to get all these municipalities to even agree to the management of this project. I mean, it's just amazing in itself. Getting people to collaborate and communicate and agree to let this project happen. Now, the federal government can do what it wants to do, but still, there were a lot of other cities and states involved in this process in order to make it work and make it successful. So my challenge for you today, not as we wrap up talking about the Hoover Dam, as we reflect on these lessons from the Hoover Dam, I challenge you to consider, how can you apply these insights to lead your organization towards innovation and resilient success? Think about one area where you can initiate change this week, where you can act like a visionary leader. Just one area this week. Think about something that you can do. So as we close, let's not forget the strength and perseverance that it takes to lead with empathy and inclusivity. Better leaders get better results. So to every one of you leading the charge for a more supportive and engaging workplace, I leave you with this: stay bold, stay inspired, and remember that your actions today shape the culture of tomorrow. My name is Glen Guyton, and you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.